Happy belated birthday to you.
This song is a safe space. This song's gonna say gay. This song's gonna make waves. I maintain when I change names. This song is a gateway where ocean flow like make waves. Trans people, we need the payday. My people, yeah, we need the main day. Why are you so quick to judge us? Chosen family, they
Should
got
turn off my
cousins.
ring notifications. Everybody gonna be going in and out, in and out, and out.
At the castle.
Like you understand me. Gender knowledge coming out the Andes. Sweet energizing like coca candy. Whitey gutty bunny, yeah, I'm Ambi. This song's for the trans baddies worldwide. Yeah, I'm T for T for T. That T, this song divine, oh why. Yeah, I'm T for T for T. They ask me for my pronouns, oh my. Envy frequency. Too many questions, too many questions. Can you just leave me be?
This ensures that artists get paid.
See all the drip on my
And every time you play a song
dress in my
on the radio, artists get pennies for that.
Oh, okay.
So that's why you gotta have your music registered. And if you want to play, that's why like if you play a song over Facebook,
They
that,
say I don't own the rights to this music. Yeah.
and if you play Beyonce or Prince or other musicians like that, Facebook will cut your live feed.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I
That's
know
why,
that.
because they don't have a way to pay them. And Facebook is not registered on BMI, which registers all music. Anytime any song is played publicly, artists are supposed to get a cut of that.
Duly noted.
All right, we back, we back. That was Bobby Sanchez talking about T4T. I drew my first card. It is appreciation rounds. Appreciation rounds. This is again from the Remedy deck, which is a melanated affirmation deck by Deja Joel. And we're talking about Twin Cities Pride. And we got some folks on the live. And we got some folks in the studio at Twin Cities. Really, it's really the whole state of Minnesota. It's Minnesota POC Pride. Often we think of this entity just in the Twin Cities, but it's actually a statewide organization. So my card that I got is Appreciation Fund, and it is like 3 or 4 peony flowers with bright suns in the middle. And the card says, let someone know that you appreciate them today. You never know. A thank you can set a person's day up for success. So gift someone an appreciation call or text. It's sure to ripple 1,000. No, it says 100 times. Let's just say 1,000 times, because why not? I'm appreciative of those around me, and I am not afraid to show it. So I'm gonna give appreciation right now over the airwaves to 3 amazing artists that have all performed many times with Rare Productions, and most of them multiple times on the Power to the People stage. I really, really appreciate True Jet, Kevin Chaos Moore, and Honesty Jackson. All amazing artists that bring it, and they bring it with fierceness to the stage each and every time they grace it. I don't even know, I can't even count, maybe Kevin knows, but probably not, how many times Kevin has performed with Rare Productions or some variation of Rare Productions. Many, many, many of those times, this brother did this for just love. Like, didn't get paid 1 penny. And rocked it for years with Rare Productions when we had absolutely no money to pay anybody. And yet, year after year, Kevin jumped on the stage and worked up a sweat and brought the crowd to their feet, and did that over and over for the Power to the People stage, for Black Pride back in the day, for POC Pride in the current day, and continues to, I would say, pay the price with his body for all those years of labor for free. And so I just want to give big love, note, and shout out to the amazing Kevin Chaos Moore. True gent, very much the same. Been rocking it on the rare stages for all the things. The Trans Equity Summit, rare functions like May Day, and barbecues in the park that we did, and POC Pride, all the functions from the boat party to it being in the park. Also, another amazing performer who did many, many appearances for me for free. So I love both of you fellas. I think you're amazing, amazing individuals. You're getting a big hey DeAndre from Kevin on the live. Then, last but not least, honesty. And Honesty Jackson, what a fierce performer. I don't think that our relationship goes back quite as far as my connection with Kevin and Alonzo, also known as True Gent. But I love her. She's an amazing artist. She also has given up her talent and her skill and her labor for free many, many times. I don't know if that's true for Rare Productions because we haven't really known each other that long, but I know that that rings true for many organizations and entities that Honesty has given her time and her talent to. So love all three of those artists. Thank you for tuning into the live. To be here with me and DeAndre, and Dennis is sitting in the background. Maybe we can get him up to the mic. Maybe no. Maybe just gonna let DeAndre shine. Did you pull a card, DeAndre?
I did not.
Okay, well, let's shuffle them up and pull a card.
Okay.
And while you do that, I'm just gonna remind folks that there are or if you are in charge of young people, organization or parental duties, then you are welcome to be part of this evening of festivities and artistry. It's going to be taking place within the framework of Twin Cities Pride. So it's going to be at Loring Park. It's going to be in the youth area. There's a big stage and lots of performers. And that takes place Friday night. Also, Friday night, the Glitchuation will be happening. That party is a very fun party. I highly recommend it if you've never been to the Glitchuation to go check it out. That is an event that has been, spearheaded and held with DJ Keezy. So give it up for DJ Keezy and go check out the Glitchuation. Long time, long running, queer loved event. Happens every year, been happening since I came out, and it might have been happening before that, I don't know. But that is the Bryant Lake block party. I know that they have amazing artists lined up for that, including one of my favorite, Nerdy, is going to be on the stage. I know they got some incredible DJs spinning that night, so go check out the block party. This is a separate event from Twin Cities Pride, and so you will have to purchase, tickets separately because Twin Cities Pride doesn't charge you to be in the Pride festivities. And you know, that is unique. Minnesota is one of the only bigger city prides that do not charge an entrance fee. Almost every major city that produces a pride charges at least $25 to get in. And I know that because I've been to a few. I'm going to go to San Diego Pride this year, and it's $35 for general admission and $100 for the VIP. If Twin Cities Pride did that and they charged everybody that came into the park over the 2 days $35, we have about 500,000 people that come into the Pride Park. So let's say it's an off year and only 250,000 people come into the park times $25. That's like that's over $1 million. I don't know what it is. What is that tabulation for all you like nerdy math heads out there? I'm just gonna ask Google. It'll tell me. I'm gonna say times 250,000. That's $875,000. That's pretty much $1 million that Twin Cities Pride leaves on the table every year by not charging us an entry fee to the Twin Cities Pride Festival. And I'm not gonna pat Twin Cities Pride on the back, because they got issues. We all know it. But they are an organization. They are a nonprofit corporation. Yes, when you are a nonprofit, you are a corporation. And they still need to make money. So literally, y'all, they leave almost $1 million on the table every year by not charging us an entry fee into the park. So you do with that what you want, but that is a fact. It's a true fact of the matter. And it is what it is. But what is happening with Twin Cities Pride, you say? Like, what is happening on the stages? There are so many artists that I can't really even run them all down, but I can tell you some of the artists that are going to be on the Power to the People stage, including this amazing artist that just played here over the last weekend. Her name is Annie Mac, and we are super lucky to get her on the Power to the People stage. She's going to be performing on Saturday afternoon on the Power to the People stage. So come and check her out. Also on the Power to the People stage, we're going to have Cherry Poppins. We're going to have a multitude of people that you know and love, like Deja Joelle, like True Gent, like Zoo Goody. Y'all know Zoo Goody. You love him. Every year after he performs, I get like 50 emails asking when he's coming back, because everybody loves Zoo Goody Black. We have Miss Honesty Jackson, of course. We also have Big Kia. We have Jazz Steele. We have Elise King. We have Cool Breed. We have the one and only Tamichi. Tamichi's been with us for the last 3 years, and I'm super happy that she's coming back this year. We have Mr. Goff, Black Phoenix. We have Isaac Jordan. We have the Black Diamonds Review, and that's going to include a bunch of your favorite drag performers like Andre 1000. We're also going to have Danny Amore back for the second or third year, and one of your favorites of all time, Black Phoenix. I'm super excited that he's going to be joining us on the Power to to the people stage. We have some really amazing swag. Some of that swag is being made by my nephew and his wife, and I'm super excited to have them in the community tabling area, along with relationships evolving possibilities. We're gonna have folks from Minnesota marijuana. We're gonna have folks from the city of Minneapolis. We're gonna have folks from POC Pride and Twin Cities Spectrum. And since I just said POC Pride, I'll make sure DeAndre's mic is up. It is. And we're gonna spend a little bit of time talking right now with DeAndre from Twin Cities Pride. I'm gonna turn Dennis's mic on just look, he's gonna join us at the table. So we're gonna talk to fellows from Twin Cities Pride. These two folks hold it down and make things happen, along with the incredible and fierce person named LT. Dennis and DeAndre have been doing the hard work of being engaged with this iteration of the original Twin Cities Black LGBT Pride. Its newest iteration is called POC Pride. And DeAndre and Dennis are here. So DeAndre, can you please introduce yourself for the audience and say who you are, maybe your pronouns, and what you do, what's your title at POC Pride?
Absolutely. Peace and blessings, everyone in Radio Land, and also to my fan base, my Your Mental Health Matters fan base to my right. My name is DeAndre Morris Jr. I go by he, him, his pronouns, and I am the executive assistant for the Minnesota People of Color LGBTQ plus Pride organization.
How long you been kicking it? You can include all the years combined together, even if you took a break or came back, whatever.
So total, I've lived in Minneapolis for the last 8 years, and of those 8 years, 6 of those years I've been working alongside Dennis Anderson and Minnesota POC Pride.
Perfect. What about you, Mr. Anderson?
First, I want to thank Andy at Twin Cities Pride, the new executive director. I don't know how long he's been there, but he's been a beacon of hope and light in the community since he's become ED. Mm-hmm. And since you were thanking people today or giving them the accolades, Andy is one of the people that I want to thank for his openness and kindness and really trying to be transparent in what he does.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I say here to that, because the organization does feel really different.
Mm-hmm.
The way that it shows up in community is really different, and I see Andy out there kind of doing all the things. I just saw him at the Lynx game, getting his big, old, oversized, gigantic check from the Twin Cities League for all the hard work that they do. So good call, Mr. Anderson.
Well, I was supposed to introduce myself, right?
Yes.
Now, I've been doing this for 30 years at POC Pride, which is formerly Black Pride, which is all the same thing. I think that, in our community, at this particular point, trying to get understanding and people to recognize that there are people of color that are LGBTQ, and, it's been that way for years. And, being marginalized in this whole fight is the reason why we kind of do this, to have our voice or our, what we want to see things done, how we want to see things in life presented to us and presented to the world our way. So this is where I think that I kind of started something like this 30 years ago. Celebrate, wake up on our own terms.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. It's liberatory.
Right. Taking that back. You know, for years and years and years, we put our hands and faith in everything that we do and other people's instead of taking on whatever that is that we want to create and create that. So this opportunity to create what you want to create. And this is one of the better years for us because we've been recognized by a lot of our, what do you call them, peers? So that's hot, you know. And the donations this year from Iconic Press have been excellent. You know, working with some of the people who are entrepreneurs like out front. It's become an ally. You know, it's like Twisted Prize, another ally. MAP. All these people have become allies this year. Gilead, you know, another ally. So I'm thinking of all the people who stepped up, you know, to say, you're there. Human Rights Campaign, you know, have all acknowledged POC in some shape, form, or fashion. So those accolades and Quorum, you know, another organization who gave us an award this year. So those kind of things, you know, Best Buy stepped up. So I mean, I can go on and on and on about the people who stepped up to help this and to make this possible. You know, we can give scholarships now to people. You know, looking back, you know, helping other organizations that want to do the same thing we do. Finding younger organizations who's trying to help it, trying to be LGBT organizations, because I'm getting old. So I'm saying that the torch is being, you know, passed on. So I'm loving it.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. You know, I think sometimes it takes a minute for the work to catch up, right? It's like POC Pride has been nominated for many things over many years. And it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like it is having some shine this year after I think, you know, the murder of George Floyd and a lot of people in community demanding folks step up after people getting so agitated and irritated that they practically flip tables to say we demand something different and something better. And after years and years of showing up, providing a quality function for people to go to, it feels like the momentum has arrived. It's like people have been putting a lot of energy and a lot of work into the organization over the past 3 or 4 years, and so now those things are rolling in, and it feels really nice to see that happening. Some accolades actually happening. Yeah. I say yes to all of that. It's important. And I think, you know, yes to the, you know, getting older and having done this a long time. It is time for us to begin thinking about how to pass the torch. You know, Power to the People started in 2001. The incident began really in 2000, and in 2001 we came with the first Power to the People area. So that means next year is going to be 24 years old, and by the time it turns 25, I want it in someone else's hands. So that gives me like a year to kind of turn it over. It gives me like a few months to start getting people in place so that they can hold it for next year. And then in 2026, I'm gonna be like, all done.
Right.
All done. And I think, you know, POC Pride is an organization that has had several iterations and then offshoots of the organization where individuals go, oh, I like this thing and I think I can make it better, so I'm going to go over here and make it better. And that happens really cyclically for lots of POC, people of color, Latinx pride groups. It also happens with mainstream pride groups where, you know, you get an offshooting because another entity has different energy or different ideas is, and they want to get it popping. And I think right now is a really important time in community to recognize that young people are turning over. They're asking for, they're taking up more, they need more space. And it's time for some of us to step back and let those folks step up into the front. I'm really digging what I'm seeing with like Vote Down Minneapolis and some of the other organizations and entities that are coming up. I think it makes really important waves for us in our community to have fresh insight and not the same old people at the table. And as one of those same old people at the table, I feel really excited and truthfully sometimes a little scared about new leadership and new people taking over. But I think overall it makes me feel like excited and revived and like, yes, people still care about this thing.
Right.
I got a question.
Yeah.
What you just said, about the fear of taking over or understanding what's next.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
I was watching CNN or C-SPAN, one of the situations, and they were ruling over TikTok. It was an old guy up there that says, listen, I can't rule over TikTok because it's not for me. I don't know what TikTok stands for, but I'm up here trying to rule over something I don't know. That's for the next generation to decide, not me.
Correct.
Because they're using it, I'm not. I better use my car, they got keyless cars now. I want my key back.
Right.
So he was gonna say, some things is not for me.
Right.
So he stepped back. So in my situation, I'm thinking that, if we can learn them, or which it says, I get better and better. We can get better and better at like teaching those kids what are Robert's rules, what's going on, how to further what they're doing, then there will be no issue of turning those rings over. But the fact that we don't know is some of the issues that I'm having about, tearing down something that's been around for years. Or structuring something around that they can be better and not starting over from scratch. Those are the issues that I want to conquer, in that year. How did this start? Where do we want to go with this? What should it look like in the future?
Yeah, I think you're right, Dennis. It's kind of up to the old hats to share.
Well, we asked that question of my parents too. Why y'all didn't teach us better?
Right.
Why y'all didn't give us those tools now that we need? Y'all sitting around on y'all laurels, and not give us that. Now that we're here and we're making those decisions on our own, some of this stuff affects you because you're seniors now. So our decision that we're making now, saying, well, since you're old, we can cut your money from Social Security. We're gonna do this. If you had taught us better, maybe we'd just reserve those things and work on something else. Or decide to cut this or our weapons, defend something to put on our old people. So it's just a matter of how we teach our kids on which way to go, on what they can and cannot do, and lose that fear.
Yeah, I agree. There's nothing really logical about having that worry. But I think because some of us old hats came up in activism and organizing through kind of this lens of scarcity, of not sharing resources. Don't look at my grant application. See what I'm doing. You might get it. And I think it's a real practice.
It would be funny to go through. Now, I've been around for since 1999 or earlier, 91 actually, because I started every league in 91. Now, all the organizations have come and gone. And we can do a list of those people and see what's a Minnesota women of color. Countless of other organizations that have started and are not existing today. And we can look at that list of people for whatever reason.
Right.
So
sustainability is hard. It's a hard thing to get to.
So that's something that I think we need to think about on how to preserve, not to bring it down from the room, but even True to here, we were the original people with Juan Jackson and the rest of them who actually told Carol Fitzgerald and the rest of them at MDH, Give them that money to start that. Help us out. How can we do this? One of the first black organizations to exist with MDH Fund and to keep it going. So it's so interesting now how we just like, it's closed and nobody wants to even like, whoa, we don't care. That's history. We're losing for POC people. We have organizations been around for 20 years that's not that, and nobody want to hear this about African American Task Force. It's sad because that was a statutory institution for us to go to that catered to us, the receptionists, the employees, the people, all that was reflective of us. Even the art on the wall was reflective of us. Where can you find that in the Twin Cities today? So we should be looking at those things like that. This weekend is supposed to be a celebration of how we came over in New York for the police and all the rest of this stuff, and now we're here. What does that mean?
Yeah, what does it mean? I mean, I think, keeping in mind that the first Pride was really a rebellion, it was a riot, it was a pushback against police corruption and discrimination. To, kind of like almost the exact opposite of that with corporate structure and corporate dollars going to make the thing. And those things happen as institutions grow. So the first Pride March here, led by Matthew Stark, way back in the early 70s, had 20 people, and they marched from the courthouse to Loring Park, which is why we do Pride in Loring Park. And there was 25 people, and they had a barbecue. They didn't need no permits. They probably had to have some kind of marching permit to march on the street, but they didn't need a permit for the park. They didn't have bivvies. They didn't need insurance. Nobody was doing cannonballs into the fountain. These are things that the current Twin Cities Pride has to think about. They don't have 2 bivvies. They have 500 bivvies. They cost a lot of money. They don't hood 2 parking meters. They hood 328, and that costs a lot
For
of
2
money.
days.
For 2 days.
Sometimes 3, depending on what area.
Exactly. They gotta rent golf carts, and they gotta pay insurance, and they have to pay a lot of fees to the city of Minneapolis. I'm not talking $50. I'm not talking $100. I'm talking about tens of thousands of dollars that they have to pay in city permits and fees.
And not to blame the city, Roxanne.
No,
I think that some of these
it's not
things.
about a blame.
Well, I think people need to understand, because they always think that these things are free,
Yeah,
or these things just come naturally.
yeah,
The city has to clean up the park.
that's right.
Y'all tear up the grass when y'all on it. Y'all
That's
want to
right.
bring your grills out there.
That's right.
You want to leave your paper in bottles.
You wanna drive on the park.
You want it right. So some people want to run into benches.
Mhm.
All these things have to have a tag on them to make sure that they go back. The cat in the hat kind of mentality.
That's right.
Everything needs to be back to go where it was. So when you see these things happening, all these moving parts, nobody has $1 million they just want to throw away.
Right.
So in these things that are planned out for a whole year,
That's right.
with the park, the city, the police, all these things that we see out there, where you're going to be in. Who tracks this? Who makes sure that you're going to be safe that day? Traffic is flowing right for you. Those are the things that we think about instead of saying that, how we can take.
That's right. And you got to think about an organization. And this, again, is just not to give, this is only to give some context, right? Darcy's saying 1972 is when
Right.
the first march happened. And Darcy is one of those folks who works with and for Twin Cities Pride. But when you look at the organizational structure, I think they may have 4 employees, and 2 of those employees are full-time. So that means that they bring you $1 million product literally costing $1 million for you to have 2 days of fun in the sun, listen to your favorite artist, eat the elephant ears and the cotton candy and the pork chop on the stick. Please God, let the pork chop on the stick guy be there this year. And do all of that for a relatively low cost, free to get in, and you're only paying for your food and some activities. I think it's a pretty sweet deal considering the
swag.
amount of work.
What about the swag?
And there's all the swag, all
I mean,
the
even
swag.
Like at every tent. Every booth has swag.
Right, they got Target swag.
Seven full-time employees, Darcy's saying. So that grew, and that's grown in the last 2 years because it used to only be one full-time employee.
And it's about time they pay
Yes.
those people. They work hard
That's right.
for what they do.
That's right.
You know, some of those people that really put this together, be there when you're not there. And the one time it's 6, and then when it's closing at the night, they still there.
They still there.
So some of this,
When you home in
right.
your bed with your foot on the floor, trying to get the room from spinning because you've been out all day and all night partying in the heat and not drinking enough water, the staff and the volunteers of Twin Cities Pride are still in the park.
And shout out to their new clothing shelf they have
Yeah.
over there. I was really impressed. They got some nice things over there. So I think, you know, if you go over in Twin Cities basement, yeah, you don't really control. You go in there and pick what you want out.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff is still in packages.
Don't go over there this week though, y'all.
Right, well, this
This
is
Don't do that.
crazy.
They
After
just-
this week.
they super busy.
But I went there and I had a few people that I knew and said thank you for referring me because I had a pregnant woman. I don't know, well, that's none of my business where she got pregnant at this age, but she's homeless and she needs some clothes. When I referred to her, she went over there and says, they had some name brand, I don't know clothes, I'm not gonna lie to you.
They do.
But she was impressed with the name brands they had over there. I'm like, they get that stuff from Target and places like that and Macy's. People donated, so I mean, definitely the clothing shelf is really nice over there.
Yeah, I'm really glad Twin Cities Pride picked up the clothing shelf because for a long time we ran a clothing shelf at the Exchange at 3405, and let me just say, y'all, it was not a fun
Right.
or easy task. We didn't get a lot of name brands. I'm just gonna be real.
Well, they do.
But
They got the fashion.
they got the fashion. They got the
You know, what's one more
upper
thing?
echelon of the gay community
Yes.
donating to them. Where we had street punks donating to us. Love the street punks, and it's a different kind of clothing battle.
Nothing at all but clothes may come back in style.
That's right. That's right. And so I for one am really glad because when we closed the cafe, that created a big hole in community for people to get things like clothing and some basic housewares, like we often had dishes and other things. And so I'm really glad that Andy and Kelsey like picked up that ball and kind of ran with it and have the space and the volunteer staff to kind of handle that influx. It's an important part of our community. The rainbow wardrobe. Somebody's at the front door at the Cutie Castle. Somebody answered.
You know, and they did another thing this year that I thought that was hot because I don't have any animals, but they're doing something especially for animals this year. Bro.
Yeah.
I'm like,
This is not the first year though.
On
I'm not saying the
Friday.
first year, but it's like for me, first year, recognizing that's,
Yeah.
you know, we're doing something special for people who have animals.
I feel like they've had the pet parade for a few years now, and definitely an area dedicated to
the pets.
So
Mm.
That's
their little
super
water
because
bowl
you know, a lot of
out.
people tell me about they got pets, but they're not welcome. People don't like pets. They're
Yeah.
scared of dogs, blah, blah, blah.
That's true.
And to do something special for people who have pets,
Yeah.
it's hot.
It's super hot.
You
It's super
know,
hot.
the clothing closet, the things they do in the community, you know, hey, kudos.
Kudos to Twin Cities Pride. And, you know, I also just want to say kudos to all the Pride events. There's a newer group of Desi folks who had their own Desi Pride last week. So shout out to that community. and those folks celebrating that pride. We know that there was a little celebration for Latinx folks that happened. So shout out to those folks. The Two-Spirit folks in our community are also having their own celebration. And then we have the prideful celebration for the rebel rousers and the abolitionists. And that's called Take Back Pride. And that's in Powderhorn Park. And that's on Saturday. But for us, we're going to be in Loring Park at the Twin Cities Pride Festival. And POC and Black Pride, both entities, have been part of the Power to the People area every year that we've done it. So I want to take a little break. I want to play a song. And I want to give a big, giant shout out to the Aliveness Project and the girls at Tea Time having a pool party at the Cutie Castle right now. I hope that the weather is holding, that it's still bright and sunny for y'all, and y'all are having a real good time hanging by the pool, sipping your drinks at the Cutie Castle. Let's play some Bobby Sanchez, because he's so gay. No, let's play our very own local artist. This person hails from Rochester, and they are going to be on the Power to the People stage on Saturday afternoon. Their name is Annie Mac. And let's listen to a message from them called Testify.
You didn't pull up.
So when we come back, we'll pull your card off and then talk about why you do pride, why you do Power to the People area.
Because I get rich.
You said you've been doing this how long? You just now getting money on it?
Sometimes it takes a long time.
It's not a rich man's game.
Yeah.
It's a long haul game. You can make money as a nonprofit.
No, I think everything is like that. It's like nothing to do with a nonprofit. For sure. You know, I'm thinking like most people, that age-old cliche about time, space, time, and energy has all matched up for that to happen. You know, when you're younger, you're so fast trying to do things that you think you can and cannot do.
Yeah.
You don't realize what you really have. So it's interesting that now, you know, that you slow down and take everything easily. It was like, it's been this way always, but you never recognized that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just interesting. Because I probably had the same money, but spent it differently.
Yeah. One thing I was going to say earlier when we were talking about the gatekeepers and people who have been doing this 25, 30 years and they're ready to pass the torch, me living in this city for 8 years, the gatekeeper thing is real. Like, it's some people who don't even want to give up the books to their organizations. So for you both to be on this radio show, you with Rare and you with POC Pride, wanting to train or teach younger people what to do and how to do it, you know, you're not staying quiet
so upset
about it.
with Leo with vote down reduction, because I really thought that this would be a good
Don't forget you live.
group of people to work with. You know, I think that, you know, I want to work with young people and not always have that thing about, you know, I'm trying to take something or get something out of it. It's just the fact of being a part of what life is. Because I've seen a lot of things. I've been there, so I know when I look at a person and try to find out, you know, what you've been through.
Right.
Because I've been through things too, so I know, like,
And you just want to meet them with their
where they at,
experiences.
yeah, where
Meeting
you
them
at.
with, and rocks do the same thing.
You know, because I mean, I don't want to take advantage of either, but you know, at some point, like, I've been in situations where I discount a person because she says, well, you don't like me. Well, I didn't know I could like you because I thought we was on something different.
Right.
But they want to be liked too. You know, they want to be know that they can be one in their hand or something like that. So don't discount me. But at the same time, just don't overrun me and take it to advantage of me.
Right.
Because you have the power. So I get that. You know, I don't shut what power gives you. I know what I get because of who I am.
Right.
I
You've
understand
been doing
that.
it for so long.
Right, even with the money that comes with this situation, you know, people do this to you. Hey, baby. You know what I mean?
Real sneaking in your hand.
Right, all kind of stuff, you know, so I gotta be conscious and aware of like, okay, you know, I could go ask for like, can you, but you know, so it's a win and lose battle on how to take that because just because who you are, you can ask people say, could you give me some money? Can I get this from you?
Right.
Can you do this?
Right.
And start using people, you know, not paying them back all that. So I'm just, you know, I want to be transparent.
Right.
If I like you, I like you. If I don't, I don't. I'm not going to get tomfoolery.
Darcy says, yes, I hear you. We need to find more ways to trust one another.
Correct. I agree with that. Because basically that's what it boils down to is trust.
Well, I know who you, if you know who you are.
Ooh, that was Annie Mac talking about testify, tell the truth. And that's what we're trying to do right now. I got the amazing opportunity to go and enjoy Annie on top of a roof the other day at the Hewing Hotel. We need to do something there. Because that was the bomb. They got the big hot tub you can fit like 18 people in.
Ooh.
It's a rooftop deck. They got a bar, and then they had live music setting up there.
Oh, nice.
And they also have a very state-of-the-art sauna. And so Annie invited me, put me on the list, and invited me to come check out her show. And let me just say, she blew all them white people up on that roof away. Okay. I want to give a shout out to True Gent, Kevin, Chaos Moore, Honesty Jackson, Serenity Watkins. What do I owe the pleasure? Lark, thank you for doing what you do and taking notes and populating the chat. And I appreciate when you have the spoons to do that. Angela, thanks for tuning in. Jerry, how's it going over there at the Cutie Castle at the pool party? Jerry is playing pool boy right now for tea time, and I'm appreciative of them for doing that. We got Pookie tuning in on the line, Carmen, and of course Darcy. No, you are not stealing her next year, Darcy. Okay, Darcy already talked about coming and plucking the artist off the Power to the People stage. But you know what? That just reminds me and affirms that we have always amazing artists on the Power to the People stage. Y'all, we have had amazing artists on that stage. Frenchie Davis, yes. I mean, we had Lizzo on our stage.
Oh, we had to meet.
We had Lizzo on our stage, and I'm just gonna call it like it is. Shortly after appearing on the Power to the People stage, Lizzo broke.
Somebody blew up.
She made it. She got out of selling CDs out the trunk and made it to the red carpet. I'm not saying it was because of the Power to the People stage, but I am saying it happened just shortly after.
Well, you can say it was talent and the Power to the People stage.
Okay.
Because she's from here, right?
She is from here.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
She had talent, but the Power to the People stage launched it.
Yes. I'll say we sometimes provide some jet fuel.
Right, you know.
for them to take off.
Right. We've been around for a long time, taking people's career to the next level.
Yes, I love it when my friends sneak onto their partner's phones and then they listen to the show. That's happening right now. What's up? That's hot. Before we started chatting and we went into break mode, we drew some cards, and DeAndre, you drew a card.
I did.
And are you feeling ready to share your card, or is
Yes.
it something that you want to hold for yourself?
No, I could read this. I actually showed the card to my Your Mental Health Matters audience to my right. So yes, I think they're anxious to hear
Okay.
what the card says. So the front of the card says, "Depend on yourself," with the sun on the front. And the sun is my favorite. I love the sun. The back says, "Can you depend on you? Test yourself with small gestures and acts of care. Can you depend on yourself to wake up on time? Depend on yourself to eat the foods you would offer to your ancestors? Can you depend on yourself to depend on yourself? Begin to prime yourself to be there for you in the most gentle and loving ways possible. Treat yourself like a best friend would. No judgment, just love. I can depend on me."
Oh, I know you can. I know you are someone who, like all humans, probably don't get it right every single time, but what a human does, right?
Right.
But I know that you care about this particular matter.
Yes.
That you do some self-care, and that you do actually love yourself.
I do.
Yeah, it shows. It shows by the smile that you wear, even when you're in pain, bro.
Yeah.
I just really appreciate you and honor the fact that I know that card resonated for you.
It did. And I was ready to read it. And it means a lot, not just to read cards with affirmations like this, but to talk to people face to face like you're doing with me right now, and just affirming everything I just read online. It makes a world of difference when you can look someone in the eyes and they say, "I love you. Everything you just read, I agree with that. You love you. I love you for that."
Yes.
And that makes a lot. That means a lot to me.
I
So
feel
thank
love
you.
bounce right
I
now.
do. I'm feeling the love.
Look at that agape stuff.
Agape.
Agape love, unconditional.
Agape love. Yes. I don't know exactly what that means, but I think the point behind it is to be like pure, unconditional.
Right, the love you have your heavenly Father, or something, your grandmother or grandfather.
A genuine love.
Genuine love.
Yes,
Right.
Unconditional love.
Right. I agree.
We got Erica tuning in. I'm gonna give a big shout out and note of appreciation for Erica. Erica does a lot to help center me and to provide ongoing monthly support to the Cutie Castle in all the ways that she does that. And I'm not going to go onto that online, but let's just say that it is substantial support, and it's very much needed because we all need those people to talk to that tell us we're doing something that's important and something that matters. And my friendship with Erica is super important in that, because she doesn't even live here. She doesn't even live in Minneapolis. She doesn't have a stake in the Twin Cities other than the love and well-being of me and Anna. But she supports us in a way that many people that I've known for many more years do. And it's consistent, and it's on time, and it's every month, and it's days in between every month. And so I love you, Erica. I appreciate you, and I wouldn't have been able to do all the stuff this year that I've been able to do without your cheerleading and your support in all the ways that you do it. and I'm going to be desperately missing it this weekend. Jolene, I see you on the line, and I'm super excited to hear what you bring to the Twin Cities with an outstate, greater Minnesota look. Jolene is an organizer and an activist in the central Minnesota area, and she is going to be joining us at our sister station for 24 hours of Pride programming. And Jolene has some important information and messages to share. And she's going to be coming down from the Hinckley area, driving all the way into the Twin Cities to talk to me and Shimmer on Thursday when KFAI will be running their 24 hours of Pride programming. Dennis, did you draw a card? You ain't draw a card yet? Well, you can if you want to, but you don't have to. It's not
Right.
It's not a thing that you have to do. But if you would like to participate, you're more than welcome to. I want to run down really quickly, if I can, some of the information that's going to be happening on the Power to the People stage. And then I want to give Dennis and DeAndre a really good opportunity to talk about why the Power to the People area is important and why Twin Cities Pride shows up there year after year and puts, what's the word I would say, puts, priority to the thing, because we often say things that we want or we think are important, but if you're not putting time, energy, and some of your budget behind it, I'm probably going to question how important it actually is to you. I'm just saying. So we're gonna talk to Dennis about why that's important right now. If
What do you mean important?
important, like why, like one of the first organizing things that you and I ever did together was in Loring Park, and it was Black Pride, and we had a little pop-up booth with 2 chairs and a table. I don't think we had a fancy tablecloth at the time. I think we had some 3-page brochures that we printed off, probably on an inkjet printer, one at a time.
The truth be told, this came from my previous lover who passed away, Adonis.
Yeah. Shout out to Adonis.
He was the one who told me about the Black Prides in Chicago and various places. So I did my research on, what the Black Pride mean, what were they looking for, how could we have something like that here, because we were never allowed to be on the stage for a long enough time on different venues, or the clubs at the time didn't allow African-American drag queens to get on the stage for a long enough time, or get the quality spots, because at different times of day, happy hour is the biggest time they give money away if you're doing drag then, opposed to doing it in the morning time. So when I look at things like that, we were trying to present something that would allow everybody to have their fair shake at performing, what they hate, what they do, how they show up, blah, 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 blah. And that was the idea behind that, and the fact that, there was nothing 20 years ago that represented me. So it's kind of difficult when you're trying to make something stick or convince people to do something, you have no example. So some kind of way for here in this state, listening to other states, we were trying to be the example of like, we are queer, we are here, we want to participate too. We want to find a way to show our talents, show, what we want to see. That's how, even one of the first people who did Vogue here, or got, that scene to come to Minneapolis to, talk about it and That was in the 1900s.
Uh,
So, thinking about that, that's a feat, The ball scene really has been going on since the 1900s. And, that sort of concept of being in Minnesota, especially that was done by black kids,
Mm-hmm.
which didn't originate here, I mean, that's a feat.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And now we have a whole production of kids and people who are trying to bring that ball scene into Minnesota. But heads off or applause is something, even finding a way to bring the idea for people to understand that Black Pride is not a competition. It exists because and for why we do this every year.
Mm-hmm.
So no, we don't want to be a competition. We want to show the world that, listen, how do you respect the things that we want to bring to our culture as far as LGBT? Because it was different for me when I grew up. I had church to fight, I had mom and dad to fight about me being gay. It wasn't a pretty situation where I can go home and say, Mom, Dad, I'm gay. Okay, son, let's go to church. No,
Right.
it wasn't that.
Right.
So the struggles, the things that I had to go through, hiding, calling the gay something different, somebody with code words, it's difficult to explain all the things you had to go through on why we present this or do this. But now that we can take our heads off and just be who we are,
Mm-hmm.
let's celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I agree. Um, it's been a long time, and the organization has grown, and you as an activist and organizer have grown. What would you say to an individual who has an idea about something that they want to bring to community to make it a better space?
I hate to do this. That would be a cliche again. I was watching TV and I was mad at this guy who said, stick to your guns, stick to your guns. It'll work out one day for you if you stick to what you do. And basically, that's what I did. I didn't, I had a job, a real job, in the last 10 years. So I don't get a check right now from an outside job or something like that. My whole concept and my whole thing is to support yourself. You gotta do something that you like every day. That's what this is. I wake up every day and enjoy what I do,
Mm-hmm.
whether they get paid for it or not. That's how I consider what you should choose to do the rest of your life. I can wake up and go to bed and feel the same way. If I get a check today or I don't, I'm still gonna do this because when I was homeless and still having this ideal in my backpack walking around with saying, one day we're gonna have employees, one day we're gonna have, we're gonna be able to do shirts and blah, 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 blah. It took time, it was the 30 years that we've been doing this or whatever. It's part of that struggle that we all have to go through, and so we can't get there before we're supposed to get there.
Right.
There is no quick way around it. There is no, magical wand. You can't change from the day, It's tried and true, sticking to your guns, making sure that every day you wake up, this is exactly what you want to do and you believe in. You can do that and go to somebody else's job.
I agree, and I feel like one of the ways that we, as as the young kids call us, old hats, can really do that is by holding space open, sharing space. It's one of the things that Nick was always insistent about with the Power to the People area. Shout out to Nick Metcalf, who just had a birthday on the 23rd, and also to another mentor of mine, Beth Simsky, also born on the 23rd. Go Cancers. Is to really give that space, to really hold space for folks to shape their ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe that. Pookie is saying, I love that, Dennis, 100%. I feel really super lucky and inspired that this year we have a couple of new maker entities that are going to be in the Power to the People area. And one of them, well, actually two, but one we know better, we share some love for, and that's my nephew, your son, and his company called KALOS, and they make imprints and create shirts and design logos and do all kinds of like graphic stuff. And they have designed some swag for me. So we're gonna have some Cutie Pock swag. We're gonna have some R Space swag, and we're gonna have some Rare Productions swag that my nephew did. And I'm super excited to have him in the Power to the People area as a new maker.
It's a good thing you raise those kids, right?
Correct.
You know, Dad did a good job of raising that boy.
I sure did. And we also have another maker, and I don't really want to talk about what she's gonna do because I feel like she can actually do that better. And I think she'll get a chance to do that Thursday on our sister radio station during the 24 hours of programming. And providing space for others to really like grow their craft is something that I know you believe in, DeAndre.
Yes.
And I know you believe in Dennis because we've done it every year for POC Pride. And we have some brand new artists that I've never heard before, and I'm looking forward to that. And we have some folks that have come back, some of those folks that we're used to seeing, like Shimmer and Tadao, who are going to be doing MC. We've had this artist be in front of the stage many times. They have shown up and they have danced their butt off. We call them Lil Nicky. And this year they approached me and said, I want to be like part of the artist group. And so instead of just like dancing every now and then, Lil Nicky's gonna come and do some sets and be on the stage and shake their booty around for us and give us some ways to shake back. Y'all have seen Lil Nicky. They be at every ball. They be at a lot of pageants. You know, they usually have some kind of cool fedora on. And providing that space and sharing back and forth between artists is something that I've loved about the connection with POC Pride. And I'm stopping on one of the people that's in the lineup for the Power to the People stage. And this is an artist that we've shared back and forth across stages, Zoo Goody Black. Zoo Goody is an artist that loves the Twin Cities, has lots of like connections and fam here, but doesn't live here. But drives up, flies up, hitchhikes. I don't know how this brother gets here, but every year he gets here for both Twin Cities Pride, and for the last couple years has worked with us to get here for POC Pride. And I think this is one of the ways that we've really worked to build community. And as we sit here in the radio station, this will be a next venture with us building in community as y'all learn how to do radio, to grow that skill. I know you already have some skill in that area, DeAndre.
I do.
With the show that you've been doing for a minute. And if we can, I'd like to spend just a couple of minutes talking about you and why you do that show. what the topic was for you and why you picked that kind of as a large platform, and then what you really want to do with it. So can you talk a little bit about your show that has to do with our mental health and wellness?
Absolutely.
Get all up in the mic.
I do have a show titled Your Mental Health Matters, Staying Mentally Aware. It did start on Facebook Live. And for anyone who wants to see any of my season 1 episodes, I do have 15 of them available on Facebook Live. Just type in my name, DeAndre F. Morris, and you'll be able to find those. I have now migrated season 2 over to YouTube just to reach a broader audience, because YouTube is kind of universal with the audience, and I reach more people versus the Facebook community. And it was birthed in a time where I was struggling with my mental health. My mental capacity was all over the place. It really started in 2019 when I was kind of struggling mentally. And I said to myself, I know I'm not the only person that could be out there struggling on a mental aspect. So I want to take this to a big platform and talk about this outside of the conversations I have with my therapist. Outside of that, I want to have really sit down, heart to heart conversations with people who are willing to listen. Then I took a break at the end of 2019 and wanted to come back in 2020. And 2020 happened.
That's a whole mental health thing.
And everything that happened in 2020 up until today has gained more mental health conversation, because from the George Floyd incident to us having to be at home on lockdown to it was just a lot of things that happened between 2020 and now that garnered a bigger mental health discussion. So I knew I wanted to come back with season 2 now because there's more to discuss. And the feedback for my show has not been as large as it's ever been since before COVID. Now I'm getting emails and inboxes and text messages from people saying, we need this. I've really been going through since the quarantine, and it's because of you being on Your Mental Health Matters, Staying Mentally Aware is why I'm surviving and thriving today. I watch your show every week. You talk about things mentally that I've been going through, and now I don't feel alone. And I get a lot of that. So it's audience and fan base like that that keeps me thriving with this. And I want to grow it to be bigger than YouTube. I actually want to become a talk show host talking about mental health on television, on a international stage. I know I can grow this to be bigger than what it is. I know I can grow this to be bigger than what it is, but it's going to take time. Like the theme of this episode today has been. Everything takes time. The timing, the place, and the atmosphere all have to collide for it to, grow to be bigger than what it is.
Yes, I feel it coming, friend, because I think you are 100% correct in that we need to hold each other spiritually and with our mental health in ways that we've never had to before.
Right.
The humans as we know them are already transmuting. COVID took us physically and mentally to places where we've never been before. And so as the human race continues to evolve or morph, we will need to tap into each other and how we move through the day in a much more specific and intentional way.
Right.
And I for one, am really glad that you're doing it, because I think that we have a lot of stigma in our community. And the stigma is interesting if you're a person of color, because historically we get that's for white people, brown people, people of color, don't go to therapists.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do go to therapists, don't tell them all your business because they're going to use it against you and use it against you as a state issued weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be giving away all the family secrets and all that kind of stuff, right? And so we get that end from like being people of color. And then on the queer spectrum, we get almost the opposite where where doctors and therapists and psychologists have over surveyed the community around our mental health, have labeled us with the DSM, saying that we are not okay because we like same gendered folks as us, right? We've been diagnosed queer, and that diagnosis carries a lot of weight with it. Trans people still are in battle with being diagnosed. And so I think as a person of color, there's this weird duality that happens. We've been told don't go to therapy, don't trust it. And on the other side, especially folks who want to be in transition in some way, shape, or form, are being gender analysis and surveilled and kind of told how to operate within certain gender binary in order for them to get their award letter that says that they're eligible to take hormones or have some physical altercation happen to their body through the transition process. And so it's interesting as a person of color kind of holding both of those hats. And I think that as queer people, it's really important to have some kind of understanding of that. And so I think, doing a show like yours helps kind of break down that stigma.
Right. And then, and not to cut you off,
No,
I'm sorry,
go.
but let's talk about intersectionality,
Yeah.
Black and queer people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest audience. That's like my target audience with the Your Mental Health Matters show that actually watches and participates in conversation with me because of things that you had said just a minute ago about the therapy and if I get caught going into a therapist's office, I might be judged. So people literally use my show as their therapy. And people have told me that. They said, keep this going because this is my therapy.
Right, which puts a lot of weight on you.
Yeah.
But
But there's a need.
Yes. And I'm curious, in that need, with people kind of emailing you and stopping you on the street because you're famous now, what do people want to talk about? Like, what are topics that people have requested? What are people interested in learning about in regard to minding our mental health?
So because my show is a holistic approach to mental health, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, socially, financially, I talk a little bit about everything that pertains to mental health because everything circles back to that. People, they want to talk about a little bit of everything. Somebody had approached me and asked me, what's the connection between my finances and my mental health? Somebody brought that to my attention a few years ago, and I didn't want to discuss a financial aspect when it comes to mental health, but when I get approached by people to talk about why do I get upset because my funds are so low? I'm like, that's something that needs to be discussed. Or somebody approaching me, like I said earlier, intersectionality. I actually had an episode on season 1 talking about intersectionality and your mental health. And I thoroughly discussed that, and so many people have said thank you for I know. And that was one of my most popular episodes because intersectionality is still a thing it's still confusing to some people. It's just a word, even though the word has been in circulation since the 70s, it's just something that most people do not talk about, and it's something me and you both know how important intersectionality is, but that doesn't mean the next person outside knows.
Right.
So it needed to be discussed. Somebody thanked me for that. People want to talk about spirituality in their mental health. Why am I a black queer person suffering from church hurt and it's affecting my mental capacity? Like, I don't, it is. And most people don't want to go to church because of past church hurt and them being queer in the church. And I actually discussed that. So I talk a little bit about the little different topics here and there, and it all circles back to how it affects your mental capacity, how it affects your mental health.
I like that terminology, church hurt. I've never heard it used like that before, and I think it's like a realness that many folks face, whether that's about like being queer or having an abortion or having an interracial relationship. I think there's lots of ways in which the church frowns upon things and that impacts your mental health, because we've all experienced this thing where you get 15 compliments about your new jacket and how cute it is and how well you're wearing it and the whole thing, and then one person says, I don't like it. And that's the thing that sticks in your mind
for the rest of the day.
For the rest of the day. For the rest of the day. And so our mental health is challenged on an ongoing basis with information that other people have told us is important for us, but that might not be our value, or it might not be in line with how we want to move through the world. And this causes so much mental stress and heartache and anxiety that we need a place to be able to talk about it. And I think because you have a lot of lived experience, not just with your kind of own personal story, but because you've been in community, you've been doing activism and organizing, and meeting people where they are with their diagnosis around HIV, with their housing needs, with how their systems are compromised, and how a little cold can bring them down for the rest of the week because now their immune system's compromised, and how really impactful that is to my day-to-day existence.
Right.
And I know just by people that you've managed cases for that you are a human who cares.
Yes.
Who like actually really cares deeply about our community as a whole, but also the individuals that make it up. And so the work of mental health is something that we all get to plug into and have a responsibility to.
Right.
How did you get brave enough, DeAndre, to bring this idea to the public and to do it in a public kind of way? Because talking about mental health, talking about the fact that I have anxiety, or I have depression, or I have whatever thing, that's hard.
It
and,
is.
And it makes you really vulnerable. What do you think gave you the courage to be able to share this?
So if I'm allowed to be transparent, because it comes from my own personal story, I am HIV positive. I've been living with HIV for the last 15 years now, but 8 of those years I've been silent with it. I've not always been this open public person when it comes to my own life and my own diagnosis. I don't know what it was, because I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. The stigma is everywhere around the world when it comes to HIV and AIDS, but me moving to Minneapolis gave me a little bit of the courage, because I saw how people were maneuvering and navigating here, and how they were they weren't afraid to be themselves, and they weren't afraid to live in their truths. So I actually became public with my HIV status here at a World AIDS Day breakfast.
Okay, that's real brave.
Shout out
That's
to
real brave.
Reverend Dwayne Davis, who allowed me the space and the grace during his morning World AIDS Day breakfast to even do that.
Wow.
And how that was just a weight lifted off my shoulders, but knowing that mentally I was not well with being silent about my HIV status. So I said, maybe it is time to go on a public platform. I've always wanted to be public. My undergrad is in corporate communication, so communicating, radio, television, all of that is up my alley.
Okay.
But I really wanted to make sure if I was on a radio show or a television program that I'm talking about something with purpose. And I feel that me being able to live unapologetically in my truth as an HIV positive black gay man, and also someone who was going through mental health situations and my mental capacity being up and down, I felt like things needed to be discussed. You know, I feel like my purpose in life is to be able to touch other lives. And me doing this brings more joy to my life than what you may imagine.
That just like filled my whole spirit, and I didn't have you all the way on the camera, dang it. But your facial expression was, you were kind of beaming, you know, talking about this passion of yours, and that in of itself, I think could very well make me feel like somebody just gave me a nice, warm, snuggly blanket. You know, it made me feel real like I'm gonna be safe because this person has it as part of their purpose. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say. This is part of my purpose.
I love that. I'm gonna ask you, because you have such a beautiful voice, if you would like to read our station, who we are, and how we do it. This area right here.
Okay.
I would love for you to do what we call a station drop. And what will happen with that is we may pick it up and use it from time to time.
Okay.
On the station. And I think because this is a special show and not all the shows are queer on this radio station, it's really important to highlight the queer ones. And so I'm just gonna fix that up a little bit. And
Okay.
if you can read that, can you see that well enough?
I can.
Okay, well then I'm just gonna ask you to lean into the mic, and I'm gonna get you right on the camera so everybody can see you doing a station drop, and we're gonna practice DeAndre's first station drop.
Nice. Okay. You are listening to The T on KRSM LP 98.9 FM, Minneapolis, a social enterprise of Pillsbury United Communities. KRSM Radio for All.
Ooh, that was pro style. You ready? You ready? All you need to do is learn how to operate this board, and you ready.
And I'm in there.
I'm so ready. And now we have our first celebrity radio drop
Yay.
of the summer.
Uh-oh.
Yes. Oh, we're getting feedback. Love. We love it. I want to make sure that I'm thanking Megan and Tor and Pookie and Nicole's phone and Darcy and Pookie and Jerry and Carmen and Angela, Laura, Serenity, Honesty, Kevin, True Jen, and Erica for tuning in and adding commentary into the live. You know, it's one thing when you tune in to the live, and sometimes folks that are running lives can see you, and sometimes they can't. But when you say something in the chat, then it makes it easier for us to know that you're here and acknowledge you. So I love it when people stop by the station, stop by the show, and say something. It's so important. I'm gonna play another artist that's going to be on Power to People stage. This song is called Love is Love, and it's by Ali McIntosh. Good job. That
Thank
was
you.
so good. You like a pro. You got that station job. I just pulled it right out.
Thank you.
Didn't even prepare you for it or anything, and you just did it like practice.
But see, it takes, and it, like I said, and I love when I'm on shows, radio, television, whatever, and everything comes full circle. You discussed earlier that Power to the People stage is a stage that fosters talent. It gives a space and it gives grace to our people of color to come on a stage, come on a platform, and just be them. So I thank you for just providing this space and this grace for me. Because with the 21 no's, you got to hear one yes from someone. And it's just a blessing to know that Rox gave me the one yes. Because I've been in here with you several times.
Yes.
I've been on the radio with you, and I feel comfortable being on a platform like this.
Just learn this board.
Yeah.
You're gonna learn how to do all the dials and all the things. You're gonna learn how to find stuff on the computer, how to adjust your microphone, and then when it's time for y'all to resubmit, I will enthusiastically endorse it.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
And I really, wanted to say to all the folks that were reviewing, like, let's not just completely say X. Let's figure out a way to help them grow their show idea, their description.
Right.
And to better capture and regurgitate what they actually already know. Because there's some skill here, actually. They just didn't show us.
Gotta tap into it.
Yeah, and y'all didn't show us on the application. It's generic. It's not filled out all the way. So, I'm like, let's, it might not be ready yet, but let's ensure that in the next round, they come in strong. Right. By practicing. That's cute.
Custom, he gave us a grant for $500, so we bought those. So he gives away the park at Black Pride for the water system we get.
Right.
The free water system, so whoever uses the water system.
Tap in
Tap
Minnesota.
in and
Right.
get water, free water bottle. Show that, instead of using bottle, save energy and time, zero on the bottle.
And that's good promotion too.
Yeah, damn, red thing.
The fans are giving you feedback. They said they love your radio.
Oh, thank you.
You did a good job.
Now they need to tune into my show on YouTube and
That's
they'll
right.
see my real
promotion.
talent.
That's right, cross promotion.
Yeah, I want to, before we wrap up, I want to do
And
tell them where they can find me.
all right, love is love, and Allie is going to be opening the stage this year for the Power to the People. Well, that's not quite true. Our very own Kenna Cottman will be opening the stage on both days with an amazing mix and play for us. Kenna is an amazing DJ, amazing artist overall, and they're gonna lend us their style and grace each morning to open the stage and set the mood. And then right after Kenna, Allie's gonna come on What's up, Tyree? What's up, fam? Glad you tuned in too. We have like 1 minute left, DeAndre, and I want to make sure that we drop the information about your mental health matters so that everybody can tune in. And then I want to remind you to go back and drop that link on my Facebook page for everybody who comes and watches the show after the fact.
Absolutely. So again, my name is DeAndre F. Morris Jr. I am your very beautifully melanated, very educated, and also animated host of Your Mental Health Matters, Staying Mentally Aware. You can find me on YouTube because it is easy to find videos on YouTube, whether you have an account or not. Just type in my name, DeAndre Morris Jr. Everything Your Mental Health Matters, Staying Mentally Aware will pop up. I actually have a new episode that will be airing on Friday at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. So yeah, find me. Oh, also, if you don't find me by my name, you could just use my handle at Focal Point 2. That's POPHOCALPOINT and numeral 2.
Are you gonna give a gift card away? For Target?
Oh.
Target gift card. How do you want them to get there?
You figure it out.
The first person to tag POC Pride with DeAndre says your mental health matters gets the gift card. There, I just made it for you. You've been listening to the team, and I'm your host, DJ Daddy Rocks. I've been here with DeAndre and Dennis from POC Pride. We'll be back next week with a wrap and a post view of what happened at Twin Cities Pride.
Revolutionary Emergency Partners, also known
That was
as
a great
REP,
episode.
is a network of neighbors who support each other when we don't know
Where does
who
our gift
else
card
to
at?
call.
You got it on you.
REP is grounded
Oh.
in black love and
Okay.
liberation with a vision that
And you're
all
giving out a
communities
Target
thrive
gift
when
card
our needs are met. Call our
to the
Texas
first
on
person
Fridays and